히트 시즌2.
What is up, StarCraft fans? We are going to go into our winners match right here, right now, to find out the first player to advance from this group. I am Wolf. With me is Rapid today, as Valdez is over there in China doing the Intel Extreme Masters tournament. Yep. But we have the better players here.
Well, that's true. We also have the better trumpets here. Feels like we called Day 9 over here to play some of those. I love that opening. So sick. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed the super sick games so far. We had ByuN, the kind of the crowd favorite, teamless Terran, making it through to the winner's match. So it means we get to see him all over again.
Yeah, and you know what? I think this is his best matchup. He actually started off in Season 1 of the Star League by defeating Sue, I believe it was, in a straight-up TVZ where he was just like, no, I know this game really well. I know this timing. And he just killed Sue. Sue was like, well, I didn't expect you to attack there. People didn't do that in Heart of the Swarm. But, like, this is a crazy awesome matchup that we have here. Solar actually was able to beat Super. Some really good play. We do have our map priority drafts coming up here. We're going to see Frozen Temple to Gettysburg and then potentially Dust Towers, as those are the kind of the way this thing kind of prioritized out. Usually the Dust Towers ended up being the third map. I guess it's because Frozen Temple was chosen by both. Yep. And New Gettysburg was the first map for Solar, so Dust Towers ended up being game 3 there. Interesting.
Yep. I actually really like how this map choice thing works. We were talking about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But I'm also really liking how this group is really working as I'm segueing back into both of our players that are coming up there. You can see Solar on your screen with a 2-1 win over Super. Both of our winners match contestants having to play through the full 3 games. Should be warmed up by now.
You know what? I've already decided how I want this group to end.
All right.
I actually want Classic versus ByuN again. You can tell that ByuN game really got, especially game 3 really got into Classic's head.
Get the revenge match.
Yeah. We'll see, though. I mean, because ByuN, I think this is his best matchup personally. And Solar, he's smiling now, but we'll see what happens in a moment here because this is not going to be an easy best of 3. For ByuN, obviously, now he's switching gears entirely to a different matchup as well. He was focused on the Classic match first. These groups have been announced for a long time. This is our 3rd group, so he's had a little bit longer to prepare. I just want to stress again, guys, how rare it is in how hardcore of a scene that we live and commentate in Korea that you see this dash below his name. That indicates that he is a teamless player who's made it to the round of 16 of one of 2 hardest tournaments in the world in StarCraft. Koreans aren't allowed to play in the rest of the world anymore. They're only allowed to play here because it is so
good.
They're so good, right? And he's in both GSL and SSL is making this far without a team. He does this on his own. He finds his own practice partners. He doesn't have, I'm telling you, Kespa teams, they have multiple coaches. They have a maid who cleans and cooks and takes care of them and ties their shoes.
I mean, this guy's so good. He beat Korea and then he beat China, and now he's coming back to beat it again here in game number 1.
To the top left in red, it is Solar, one of our underdogs in the group, but made it to the winner's match already. And what would probably be his easiest best of 3 of the group. But now he has to face against this guy, the one teamless player in the SSL. It is ByuN.
Of course, both of these players so good. They're like water into wine. No, man, we turn minerals into birthday cakes.
Pretty lame superpower, actually.
I mean, if I could turn the things around me, if I could just walk up to a building and pull a birthday cake out the wall, I would be so fat.
Are you familiar with the story of Midas?
The gold turning into things, yeah.
I feel like it's this funny thing where it's like, okay, I want everything to be birthday cake, but now these drones, their whole lives and careers depend on mining money, so the armies can be made. But every time they touch the minerals, they become birthday cakes, and they're just not as valuable
I
as
can't
minerals.
mine. I literally turn everything into birthday cakes. That's where it literally feels birthday, man. So.
But, you know, at this point, barriers must be broken.
To make a win, barriers must be broken, so ByuN, go, go, go. All right, well,
Well, to make a win, that was actually correct first. He edited it to make it incorrect, but he was trying.
Can't second guess yourself. No, definitely.
Always go with your first instinct.
Yeah, there you go. Well, if I went with my first instinct spelling Korean, we'd be here for a while. I'm like that monkey with the typewriter with Hangul. I just have to figure out my way through. So,
sure.
First Reaper coming out here. Nothing too surprising. We do have that expansion coming out for Zerg. 6 Zerglings on the way, and some Zergling speed. It'll be done eventually. Reaper just out there for scouting.
It's funny, the entire economy of this game has changed because of the birthday cakes. Now, like, birthday cakes can actually buy units.
You know, I thought I was okay with the world as it was, and you hear all these like depressing things, but no, if your world is made out of birthday cakes, it's actually just the best.
You know, like, if you think about it, we have basically 2 forms of currency, right? One is bills, and the other is the coins, right? And of course, credit cards allow you to have a digital third type of currency. But in physical currency, we have 2 types, right? Coins they stay alive for, you know, they're not going to be destroyed, they're not going to be ripped or whatever, but they're less convenient than a bill. But birthday cakes, you can't really store those, so I'm wondering really how this economy is going to work out. I think they might just have to change it back to minerals pretty soon.
You kidding, man?
How long can they keep this up, Rapid? How long can
I have 10,000 won worth of birthday cakes in my pocket right now, man. That's more birthday cakes than I've had my entire life.
I don't like cakes so much. Taste and I were talking about this the other day at GSL, so I'm pretty much. I love StarCraft. I'm glad to celebrate the anniversary. I preferred it when they had the Warhounds, though, as the pros. I just don't really like cakes.
Yeah, my blood type is basically sugar at this point, so everybody's been trying to get me to go on this keto diet. I'm like, no, literally, that would deprive me of everything in my body. Oh, man. Well, let's take a look at the actual game here, Wolf, so that all of those StarCraft purists out there can be happy that we're talking about the actual game. Some nice scouting here, but even better, denial from Solar, and he will be able to keep his tech secret for now. Spoiler alert, he actually doesn't have very much tech.
Yeah,
so.
And this is the scary thing, because ByuN actually he went 2 rack stim. I think the Overlord got a decent idea about this when it came in earlier, and he was actually able to get that scout without Overlord speed, which is pretty cool, because that's something that basically every Zerg is doing right now, that Dark and Rogue, really the 2 of them are kind of meta changers, 2 of the best Zergs in the world right now. That popularized that, especially Dark. But he sees this, he needs to prepare for this. He's going double Evo Chamber, which means he has confidence for double upgrades, but he will need very soon a Baneling Nest if he has hopes of holding this pressure. It's going to be very difficult to do so with pure Zergling alone. However, with the Queen buff, it's a lot easier to hold push like this if you target the medevac. So this is something that Rogue did, where he went for the Ling drops into the hold, and we may see something like this. Is a different timing for the Evo Chambers than what Rogue was doing in the GSL, but we'll see how this works out. In fact, he's going for range upgrades instead of the melee attack.
Okay, that does signal a transition, of course, a little bit later on. Zerglings don't just like get the ability to throw their little claws at things. So interesting, though, because this is maybe an adaptation of Rogue's strat. It's like, wait a second, queens are just now so good. You can overproduce queens early on and then get the value later on because they can transfuse Ultralisks and things like that in the late game. He actually has 3 more queens on the way. This is going to be so many queens, but will it be here in time? Here's the first stim, and we'll be backing up, but he's going to get a lot of these.
He needs
queens.
to kill these quickly. Even when the Lings come, he has to retreat. If the Lings go off creep, then he gets them. So this is actually a micro battle, tug of war. Queens, like, this is something Taste and I were talking about last night, and I've literally casting like every day of StarCraft in Korea this week, StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2. So, so like I'm going to reference a lot of things this week because I'm like literally part of 100% of it. But something we were talking about yesterday is how if you patch too early, sometimes things like this happen where maybe things weren't fully thought through, and it can insanely affect a matchup like this. I'm not saying that now like Terran can't win versus Zerg, but it means a push like this is much less effective than it used to be. And you have this absurd amount of queens that just heal each other forever, and then Lings come out. Now, ByuN is going to hold his ground here, which I think he should do, but he's going to lose a medevac in a second if he doesn't actually pull back.
Oh, he picks up. Luckily, the low health medevac is one of the least Marines, but he is pushed back. This push is held. There's 2 more queens on the way. Queens, I remember like thinking about all the different macro, characteristics that each one of the races have, and I just look at Queens and I'm like, wait a second, they're actually just the best unit for their time in the game, and now they're even better. You can build 1 million of them. They don't affect your production. For military units for the Zerg, you actually have to choose between drones and military, but you don't have to do that with Queens, who are so good. Widowmine hit does kill off one of them, and actually Solar losing a few Queens.
Well, he's eventually running out of energy on these because they've been transmuting so much early on. This push is so powerful. ByuN is like, I break the rules. Okay, you think you can just mass Queens? Queens can't kill Marines. Now you can get at a good angle here with the Marines.
Oh, but there are 2 tanks in the back actually getting up a lot of value from those shots. These Stim Marines just so good. And we will be forced to disengage back to his tanks, and he might actually just still hold this. Those tanks in the back are God mode right now. The Widowmine will actually get to burrow, and Solar has to back off, but he doesn't have anywhere to go back, literally up against the wall. Nice Marine micro, and some very low health there on both the Marines and the medevac.
He's actually basically won the game. There's no 4th base, so much damage. I think you really hit the nail on the head when you said that it was going to go for Queen's range damage temporarily, then switch back into melee upgrades later on. But he's instead switching into Roaches, which against mass Marine, especially with this early of an advantage, it's so difficult to use Roaches. Like I personally, and I've been saying this since Heart of the Swarm and even Wings of Liberty, like I think Roach style versus Bio is so bad because the attack speed of Roaches is so slow that Bio will just be will out heal the damage. And there we go. I mean, he's really going to struggle to fight these Marines.
Yeah,
look,
there's
he's
no
being
way.
out-healed.
Yeah, he actually just loses that push out. He was able to snipe a Widowmine. Is that a victory? I don't know. I feel like he traded like 300 minerals for that at least, and now he's going to be pushing up again. These tanks in the back just immortal. Once again, not the unit. He's not Protoss, but he is so good.
That should be game. GG.
GG. What a strong push from ByuN.
This is what ByuN does. He does not follow the rules of the meta. He knows weaknesses. He knows pushes. And he's like, okay, you can make Queens. Can you hit my medevacs? Because you're going to be transfusing non-stop, and you're not going to be able to target all your Queens on my medevacs while you're transfusing and kiting back and having to control your Zergs at the same time. It's one of those things, sometimes when you have unit comps like this, you know that the margin of human error is so high, which is why even Classic was making moves like that, where he's like, oh, I think he might 1A over here and I can snipe a Liberator. But like ByuN knows that even though Queens are going to be tough to engage to, he's like, I think I know how these units work together. Like, I think I can actually fight you. Yeah, you can kill medevacs from further away than before, but not if I'm killing your Queens, and your Queens are actually not attacking because they're like, my Marines on top of them, they're transfusing each other. It was a tempo-based push. He got a lot of a tempo lead there and just kept pushing it, steamrolled through.
Right, and I think after Rogue really showcased how strong mass Queens were early on in his GSL match, he actually managed to get out of a group with 3 Terrans. Terrans started to think, oh man, we might not be the best anymore. And they're like, wait a second, you can't transfuse Queens when they die instantly to Stim Marines. So
yeah.
Very, very strong push there from ByuN. Takes him 1 game up in this matchup. Will we see a return to...
you know, the other thing, too, is like when that push started happening, when he was holding it, it was just kind of like trading energy for energy, the medevac energy versus Queen energy. He got more medevacs, he got more Marines, and the Queen started running out of energy. And he didn't have Banelings. I'm like, why don't people want to make Banelings this matchup anymore? Like, it just make them. It's actually, they're so good, they don't cost so much gas.
Yeah, you're supposed to make them and then drop them later on. We'll find out if this is going to be a 2-on for ByuN, if he can make it out of game number 2.